What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. We'll break down what's happening with the economic data going into tomorrow, what's going on with other factors involved in the markets, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin the devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. The offer ends very soon in just a couple of days, in just 8 days from now. Anyways, for the markets, as you can see, we did see an attempt to bounce by the markets for today. But in order for this to continue, we need to see confirmation to the upside from this point on. Looking at NIO, we got a decent close at the $4 resistance. We have to see if NIO could establish a higher low and then continue to push up from there. If that ends up being the case, there is potential for NIO to not just fill this imbalance, but also push towards our 200 EMA and start pushing for higher levels. So I'm going to break down more details about this in just a few minutes. But let me give you guys some updates on the markets. So I went over the whole Israel and Iran situation in my previous videos. I mentioned that the situation has eased a bit, which is pretty good so far, at least for the markets. The market is trying to bounce a little bit, but we need to see more confirmation for us to get more clarity about that. But that is a little bit more positive, at least as of right now. I just want to say that I'm not necessarily fixated on the notion that the whole Israel or Iran situation is done with. It could still, once again, escalate again. But as of right now, things have cooled off a bit. So it does look like temporarily. And as of right now, things are improving. Now, for tomorrow, it's going to be Tuesday, April 23rd. We have at 9:45 a.m. That's about 15 minutes after the market opens, the S&P Global Composite PMI coming out. Then we have new home sales, more manufacturing numbers also coming out. For Wednesday, we have, we have more data coming out. We have some bill auctions and stuff, but it's very, very minor data. However, let me just call out that for earnings, we do have something very important for tomorrow. For Tuesday, we have Tesla announcing its earnings. This is going to be very, very important because whatever Tesla does is going to affect not its share price, but also the entire EV sector. Tesla's going to be making a lot of announcements tomorrow, giving us their keys on guidance and such. Whatever they say could be very important for how things kind of continue moving forward. Tesla's going to be reporting its Q1 earnings after the market closes tomorrow. This is going to be very important. We'll have to see how they end up looking in terms of guidance. That's going to be key for them. And then we'll be looking to see more and more price action from there. Right now, the markets are still quite fearful. They're getting a little bit closer to neutral if we do get a bounce from here. We'll have to wait and see, though. I do want to note that the puts and call positionings have been going up as we're seeing lots of puts being bought. There is a risk of more downside in the markets later, but as of right now, with this many puts being bought, we are starting to see the markets react a little bit thanks to that. For NIO, I didn't really see anything too crazy that's come out. We're still waiting for more deliveries data. But I just want to call out that for the stock specifically, we've got a neutral rating from Maguire. And on top of all of this, we got a nice counter trend bounce. We got some good news over the weekend involving NIO, once again expanding their autopilot assist technology, which is good news for the share price. And with this, we're going to be looking to see what happens with their latest sales data. Price price ratio is down a little bit, but we're seeing a little bit of improvement. And don't forget that historically, Tuesdays tend to be green about 55% of the time. And on top of all of that, we'll be watching to see what new models come out. So they also have the new models coming out at the upcoming auto exhibition in Beijing. That's going to be very interesting. Can't wait to see what they end up announcing. So there's a little bit of anticipation approaching that. And we got good volume at about 16 million. So NIO is bouncing as a result of all of this. So the question is, what's going to happen moving forward? What do I think is going to happen for the share prices? In my opinion, we got a nice bullish divergence on NIO. You can actually see it right over here. Our MACD made a higher low, while the share price made a lower low, leading to this divergence and potential counter trend bounce. We're at the $4 area, which is where we tend to see a lot of volatility. If we continue to push, look for resistance at 4.16 and 4.2. And if that breaks, our next target is to be this gap fill all the way up to about 4.5. If we lose $4, look at support at 3.89. If we lose that, we could be sinking back down. But my guts tells me that this might actually try to push a little bit higher towards 4.16, just temporarily, a temporary push to the upside, approaching Tesla's earnings. I also want to mention that Tesla is going to make a massive move, and this will affect NIO. As of right now, it looks like Tesla is trying to base at this 140 area. So we'll see if it holds this. We might see a lot of choppy price action tomorrow, which is, a little bit different. The market tried to bounce today. Tesla's still looking relatively weak. I'll be watching resistance at 143. If we break this, we could go a little bit higher, but we might just see a lot of sideways price action. We might retest 144 and just trade within this range. And then we'll see how things go for Tesla, at least moving forward. If we lose 140, we turn back to bearish, but as of right now, I'm seeing some potential for this to try to push. So I'll be watching for that very carefully. As far as Nvidia goes, we're on a slight uptrend right here. We could be approaching our 50 EMA at this 810 area if we break past 800. If that breaks, we could go a little bit higher. I am seeing some potential in this to try to continue to push a bit more, which could positively help the QQQ like it did today. The QQQ is going to likely try to approach the 50 EMA at 420.8. If we break that, look for 422 and then eventually 425. I think that there is potential for this to try to bounce if we establish a higher low. So we had this low right here, we came up. If we make a higher low right here, if we try to bounce close to 417 or so, could be looking for a push higher. Watch for confirmation. This chart is trying to shift a bit, but I want to wait and see just to be safe. For SPY, if we lose 497, look for a push all the way down to fill the gap at 494. And if we manage to hold above this support, if we hold above 498, look for a push back up to about 504. And there could be a reversal right here. We broke this high right here. We came down, made a higher low, and now we're trying to push higher. So I could be looking for a push towards 504. But just for confirmation, let's see if we get that move. SPY is showing a little bit of potential, so we'll give this a little bit more time. But I think that there is a chance we might try to bounce from here. There's a very, very good chance of anything. For Aapl, it's already trying to rebound a bit. You guys can see we have a nice inverse head and shoulders and accumulation structure. We have more earnings coming out that could affect the markets, but look at the 50 EMA as resistance. If we break past 166, look for a push towards 168. There's definitely potential on Aapl, in my opinion, as well. So that being said, guys, I just want to say thank you all so much for listening. Let me make it very clear that the market is trying to rebound a bit, which could help NIO. We have a nice double bottom like structure forming this W, and for the full measured move, we want to see this imbalance fill at 4.2. So let's see if this holds up. Let's see if we get up to about 4.2, and then let's see if we continue to push from here. For this to happen, we have to see this thing hold up a lot better, and I want to see NIO establish a higher low. So if we do retrace a bit tomorrow morning, we could retest like 3.9 to 3.95, then bounce and start pushing for 4.2. That's a strong possibility looking at the symmetrical structure as long as we get some good news. But then don't forget, tomorrow's a big day since we have Tesla's earnings. After Tesla announces its earnings, I'm going to release a video and talk about how things are looking. If Tesla gives us some good earnings, if we get some good numbers, Tesla could bounce. This could actually help NIO somewhat, but depending on what they announce about China and the EV sector. If Tesla crashes after its earnings, NIO could tank too. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow after the market closes. With that being said, we have a very important day tomorrow. We'll see how things go for Tesla and NIO. Make sure you watch your levels from a technical standpoint. I am seeing a potential bounce that could be coming to the markets, but we want to be a little bit more patient and wait for confirmation just to be safe. So wait and see if the market continues to change its structure, if we start making higher highs and higher lows, and we'll give the market a bit more time. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate every single one of you. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and peace out.